You're walking down a crowded street, and someone shoves past you without apology, just a simple, careless bump. But suddenly, your chest tightens. A flicker of rage crawls up your spine. It's irrational, isn't it? You don't even know them. You'll never see them again. And yet, your peace is gone. For the next few minutes, maybe even hours, your mind replays that single moment like a broken record, editing in imaginary arguments, witty comebacks, and curses that never left your lips. Now shift the scene. You're in a conversation, and someone interrupts you, talks over you as if your words were disposable. It's not an act of violence, it's barely even notable, and still, a storm brews inside you. It's not just disrespect, it feels like erasure. A strange sensation of being made invisible, of your identity being challenged in the most subtle, silent way. Why? Why do such small, seemingly insignificant moments have the power to ruin entire days? Is it really about the person who wronged you? Or is it something else? A deeper war playing out beneath your skin? You tell yourself not to care. You chant mantras about calmness. You scroll past spiritual quotes about letting go. And yet, one sharp word, one passive-aggressive glance, one reminder that you are not in control of how others behave, and the monster returns. Anger, frustration, that tightening grip around your thoughts. It doesn't ask for permission, it just hijacks your mind. But what if it didn't have to be this way? What if there was a way to walk through life, through chaos, cruelty, and contradiction, with an untouchable stillness? What if no one could reach inside you and twist your soul like a puppet string again? Would that be indifference, or the highest form of power? The real question is not, how do I avoid anger, but why do I let others hold that power over me at all? And if that power was never theirs to begin with, where did it go? Anger is rarely about the moment. It's about the meaning we assign to it. Carl Jung once wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But who dares to look that deeply? It's far easier to point outward, to believe the problem is them, their rudeness, their disrespect, their ignorance. But what if they are merely mirrors, reflecting wounds we refuse to acknowledge?" From a psychological standpoint, anger often masks vulnerability. It's a shield for shame, fear, rejection, a defense mechanism designed not for violence, but for preservation. When someone talks down to you, it touches not just your ears, but your ego, your identity, the fragile scaffolding you've built to feel like someone. Anger arises when the story you tell yourself, "I am worthy, I am respected, I am safe," is suddenly challenged. And so, you retaliate, but not to punish them, to protect the image of you that you believe must be defended at all costs. Nietzsche called this the will to power, but he warned it's not always about domination over others. Sometimes it's about the desperate clinging to control over one's fragile sense of self. Society feeds this hunger. From birth, you're taught that value comes from recognition, what others think, say, or feel about you. You're conditioned to place your self-worth in the hands of strangers, lovers, bosses, enemies. Is it any wonder that the slightest dismissal cuts so deep? But what if this entire system, this belief that you must be respected to be at peace, is a lie? What if your identity was never meant to be built upon the ever-shifting winds of human behavior? And what happens to a person whose inner worth becomes untouchable? At first, it seems harmless. A moment of irritation here, a burst of anger there. You vent, you cool off. Life moves on. But beneath the surface, something begins to rot. Every time you react to someone's rudeness, every time you let a careless word burrow into your mind, you reinforce a hidden contract. I will only feel okay when others behave the way I need them to. You don't say it out loud, but your nervous system does. Your emotions, your mood, your peace. They become dependent on an unpredictable, uncontrollable world. This is the quiet death of inner sovereignty. Neurologically, the brain is shaped by repetition. The more you respond with anger, the more you become anger. Neural pathways form like grooves in a record. Automatic, unconscious, reflexive. It becomes easier to react and harder to pause. Your mind becomes wired to seek offense, to look for threats to your identity, to interpret every slight as a declaration of war, and society rewards it. Don't let them talk to you like that. Stand up for yourself. Show them you're not weak. But no one tells you that this armor becomes a prison. That in protecting yourself, you also chain yourself to every insult, every opinion, every flicker of someone else's emotion. You become a slave, not to people, but to the fear of being disrespected. Schopenhauer once said, "A man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills." Your anger isn't freedom, it's programming, an echo of conditioning that began long before you chose who you wanted to be. So the cost isn't just emotional turmoil, it's identity distortion, it's spiritual erosion, it's the gradual loss of agency, of the calm, clear, unshakable self buried beneath layers of reactivity. And unless you see this trap for what it is, you'll spend your life trying to win battles that don't matter, while losing the war that does. Freedom does not begin with control. It begins with surrender, not to others, but to the truth. You were never meant to be invincible. You were meant to be untouchable. There is a difference. One wears armor and waits for battle. The other walks bare-chested through the fire, unmoved, not because nothing touches him, but because he knows what can't be taken. Here's the rebellion. Stop reacting. Start observing. When someone insults you, they are not speaking to you. They are speaking from themselves. Their fears, their insecurities, their chaos. Why let their storm invade your sky? Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor surrounded by betrayal and war, wrote, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. That's it. That's the revolt. Not resistance, not retaliation, refusal. The quiet refusal to let your nervous system be hijacked by someone else's noise. It's not passive, it's power. Because here's what no one tells you. Emotional detachment isn't apathy. It's sovereignty. It's what the mystics discovered in silence, what the Stoics practiced in discipline, what warriors carried into death, not because they felt nothing, but because they feared nothing. You don't need mantras, you need awareness. The next time someone tries to provoke you, don't react. Pause. Watch your breath. Watch your heartbeat. Watch the emotion rise like a wave, and then crash. You are not the wave. You are the ocean beneath it. Nietzsche warned, "Be careful when you fight monsters, lest you become one." So stop fighting monsters. Walk past them. They lose all power when you no longer seek their recognition or fear their rejection. And what's left behind? A presence so calm, it becomes terrifying. There is a silence that cannot be disturbed. A stillness so profound, it makes chaos irrelevant. Not because the world stops attacking, but because you stop identifying with the part of you that can be attacked. Here is the final truth. You are not the self that gets offended. That self, the one that craves validation, fears rejection, reacts to insult, is a fiction, a mask, a fragile construct assembled from memories, praise, criticism, and the opinions of others. You've spent years defending it, mourning it, polishing it, but it was never you. Viktor Frankl, imprisoned in the horror of Nazi concentration camps, wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That space is who you really are. Not the reaction, not the story, not the ego demanding respect, but the awareness that watches all of it rise and fall. The witness behind the thought, the silence behind the noise, the being behind the persona. And when you anchor yourself there, deep in that stillness, no insult can reach you. No chaos can shake you. You do not become passive. You become impenetrable. You smile at provocation, not from smugness, but from knowing, this is not mine to carry. You walk through slander, betrayal, dismissal, not unscathed, but undisturbed. Because you have remembered the one truth this world tries hardest to make you forget. Your peace is not a reaction, it is a decision. And once you choose it, not as an escape, but as a stance, no one can take it from you. So let them speak, let them act, let them try. You no longer belong to them. You've returned to yourself.